I made an old man. I said, tell me your story. He took out an old pen.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. It's an engaging and enlightening talk show on life, relationships, and the business of life. Grab a cup of juice and just chill. Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. Live life. Live fully.
You are now tuned in to this week's episode of our podcast. Today we are going to interview some of the greatest and most influential minds in our field. By sharing our collective expertise, we will show you how to harness, control, and use your own skill set to achieve ultimate success and live the life you want. And now, please welcome your host.
It's Lowell List by Omobola Stephen. This is your host, Omobola Stephen. Remember that if you want to catch up with any of my missed episodes, just go online and search for Lowell List by Omobola Stephen on any podcast distribution platforms that you bump into, and I guarantee you're going to have a really worthwhile listening experience as you do so. I have with me on the show today, Jonathan DePort.
Hi, Omobola. Lovely to be here.
Welcome to Lowell List. Great to have you on the show, Jonathan. Now, I'm looking forward to your professional insight on today's topic for discussion. Now, Jonathan, your company facilitates life-changing plant medicine journeys to elevate your clients' peak performance and well-being. So what leads this path?
Yeah, so we work with hallucinogenic or psychedelic plant medicines. And the purpose of this work is to give people deeper access to what's going on in their minds. Now, the science has shown very interesting things in recent times. Your typical person is having somewhere between 12,000 and 60,000 thoughts per day. Most people are thinking only about themselves. Most people are thinking the same things over and over again. And people are mostly thinking, unfortunately, negative things about themselves. So these experiences, these medicines can really facilitate us to have a deeper understanding of ourselves and to begin to shift those things and improve our quality of our minds and the quality of our lives as a result.
Right. Now, Jonathan, how can hallucinogenic drugs, also called psychedelic, help in alleviating depression, addiction, PTSD, and anxiety? Do you have any insight to share?
Yeah, so there's a broad range of motivations and applications that exist in relation to why it is that people explore these experiences. The first is really to do with healing, which is I guess what you've mentioned there. So whether it's people who are suffering from suffering, people who have had past childhood trauma or life trauma, people with depression, anxiety, all of these sorts of kind of issues that plague the mind and sometimes the body as well. So number one is healing. The second is around creativity and growth. And people trying to expand their consciousness and improve their clarity of purpose. And then finally, the third is around deepening spirituality. So people tend to have obviously their own motivations for why they explore these experiences, but typically they fall into one of those three categories.
Growth. Early on. So talking about growth now, what's the relationship between plant medicine and accelerating or altering one's spiritual growth and mental health?
Yeah, so I guess it all comes back to limiting beliefs and fears, right? So many of us have fears that are keeping us from living our dream life, right? So maybe for you that might be pursuing your own career path. Maybe that means pursuing a different career path within your existing company. Maybe it's moving to a different country. The ideal life obviously can mean very many different things for any of us. And so through these experiences, we can begin to release some of our fears, some of our limiting beliefs, and begin to more actively pursue the things in life that will lead us to more growth experiences, and ultimately, of course, lead us towards deeper growth, a deeper self-understanding, and more of the things that we're looking for, so that we can live each day with more peace, more joy, and more love, hopefully.
Right. Jonathan, I want us to get personal here. Now, what does the plant medicine facilitator do? Is it similar to what is being done in clinical research settings?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I think the first thing that I would say is that I'm not a plant medicine facilitator myself. We have people who do this work within our organization. Typically, they've been doing this work for a decade plus, if not many decades. This is quite intensive and specialized work. So that's the first thing I'd say. The second thing I'd say is that we do retreats in a number of locations, in locations where this work is allowed. Unfortunately, in most countries, this work is illegal. So when we're talking about, psilocybin, magic mushrooms, or ayahuasca, or some of the other plant medicines that are out there, unfortunately, they're still not allowed in many countries. And so, what we do is bring together expert facilitators for our clients in these locations where that's legal. Is there anything else that you'd like me to kind of further expand upon in relation to that?
Yes, I wanted to ask you, how can these limitations be taken off, right? There's some certain places that you can't practice what you do. So how do you think these limitations can be taken off?
So there are a number of legalization initiatives around the globe. Certainly, there's quite a bit of activity happening in Canada as well as the United States, and also throughout Europe. So, the locations and countries that I mentioned before, where we do the work in Costa Rica, Mexico, Portugal, Netherlands, Peru, these locations are already legal. And then, there's many more countries and initiatives where they're trying to get this work legalized so that more people can have more access to this work and not need to travel internationally for these experiences.
All right. So do you offer your services offline to your clients?
Yes. So all of our retreats, all of our services take place in person in the locations that I mentioned before. So typically a client will come and visit us for, say, a week in Costa Rica or maybe in Mexico or the locations I mentioned before. And then they will participate in something like 3 or 4 ceremonies over the course of a week as part of a retreat.
Right. So, Jonathan, are you thinking of going online, since most of the work we're doing right now is an online base? Are you looking forward to having an online service for your clients?
No, so these are very powerful experiences, and so the way that we do the work requires in-person facilitation. It's just too sensitive, and these medicines are very powerful. So you need really expert facilitation and guidance to be there in person. So at this stage, we have absolutely no plans, and given the sensitivity and intensity of the work, no plans to move to an online model.
Oh, I quite understand. Now, talking about your company, right? So how does your company help clients to maximize the benefits of plant medicine?
Yeah, so what we do is a little bit different than most people out there. And this is as a result of my own experiences in relation to this work. So a lot of people are going on, say, a week retreat somewhere, and then, they have a powerful, a profound experience. And then, 2 or 3 weeks later, they're back home and everything's back to normal. And so that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for sustainable changes. And so what we do with most of our clients is that we help them with the mental and emotional work before and after a retreat. So a number of weeks with a coach or a therapist to help them, understand where they're at, help them, develop a deeper understanding of the things that they would like to change in their life, and then bringing that into the retreat context, and then post-retreat being able to actually implement those changes back into everyday life.
Right. Thank you, Jonathan Duporter, for your professional insight on the topic of discussion today, especially on psychedelic and plant medicine, relation between drug use and plant medicine use.
Is there any conversation?
Yeah. Is there any correlation, right, between drug
Yes.
use and plant medicine use?
Yeah, it's a good question to ask. So, from some people's perspectives, these plant medicine are to be considered drugs. They're psychedelics in essence, right? So it really, I think the distinction or the difference relates to the intentionality. Certainly, there are people out there who take these medicines, who take these plant medicines, these drugs, these psychedelics, these hallucinogenics, whatever it is that you want to call it, and do it just for fun. And there's other people who do it with a much deeper intention in relation to, developing their own understanding of self in terms of healing, in terms of creativity and growth. And so, yes, there are people who use it, for fun. There are people who use it for more meaningful things. And it's not to say that one's right and one's wrong, but they're very different depending upon how we use these things.
What project you're working on presently or in the pipeline?
Yeah, we're having, we're expanding the business, and so we're launching more retreats in more locations. We're bringing more coaches, we're bringing more therapists, and that's our priority at the moment.
All right. I wish you best of luck in the project.
Oh, thank you so much. That's kind of you.
All right. Jonathan, do you have any parting word you'd like to share with my audience?
No, I mean, just from what I've shared, is there any other final questions that you might have, Omobola?
All right. Just can you get us the social media connections?
Yes, absolutely. And what's come to me now is, just encouraging people, whether it's through meditation, through breath work, or through exploring, topics such as plant medicine, to pay close attention to what's happening in their inner world.
That's right. That's right. So we like to have your social media connections on your website so you can get in touch.
Yeah, we're at @behold_retreats on Instagram, and you can also find us online at behold-retreats.com.
All right. It's a pleasure once again having you on the talk show today, Jonathan. Really had a great time. Having this discussion, especially on plant medicine, right? I hope some other time we can do this again. And I wish you best of luck in all your future endeavors.
Thank you so much, Omobola.
All right. Thank you, audience, for joining me on the show today. Really had a blast indeed. Remember, if you want to catch up any of my missed episodes, just go online and search for Omobola Stephen on any podcast distribution platforms, and you have an amazing time listening to the show. Love. I talk to you soon. Bye for now.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. It's an engaging and enlightening talk show on life, relationships, and the business of life. Grab a cup of juice and just chill. Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. Live life. Live fully.